place, so I know you were here. I'm Lynn Huber, and I appreciate you being here. So today we're going to talk about successful people track and analyze results. So we're still in the series about what we can learn from highly successful people because, success leaves clues. And regardless of what business the successful people are in or not, whether in our business or another business, the things that they do are the reasons why they're successful. And so I like to watch what they do so that I can learn from them. And so another trait of highly successful people is they track and analyze their results. So anytime that you take a chance and you try something new, whether it's a new project or anything else, you should be keeping track of the results you're seeing from it. I mean, even if it's not new, even if it's just something you're doing for your business, you should be keeping track of your results. So in order for you to know what's working and what needs to be adjusted, you need to be able to track and understand these things. And so not only does that help you make adjustments as needed, but it also gives you something to look back on later to see what was working for you then. And sometimes when you look back later, you can see, well, it didn't work then, but it might work now if I make these adjustments, right? But where we need to be really careful, though, is many people tend to oversimplify what it means to track results. So oftentimes it's seen as binary, meaning that either it worked or it didn't, and that's all that matters. And that's not what I'm talking about when it comes to tracking your results. That's not the only factor that you should be keeping track of. So for example, if something worked, but the end result was disproportionate to the amount of work it took for you to get it to work, then it might not be actually worth it, right? So keeping track of the difficulty and the amount of effort that a task required, and maybe some of the other things that were happening around, as you were completing this task, can help you not only keep you motivated and focused, but it also helps you understand if it was worth it. So another thing to track is how much you got out of that project, as in what you got out of return, in return for your efforts. So let's say, for example, that you're working a part-time job. Okay, so let's just say you needed some extra money and you worked an extra 10 hours a week. And, if you work that extra 10 hours a week, you might be more tired and have less time, but you track how much you got in return financially for that extra work. And from there, you can analyze it to see if it was worth it or not, right? Sometimes you might not be getting enough return to warrant the effort, the amount of effort that you're putting into it. So essentially what you want to know is how much effort you put into something and what you got out of it. And from there, you can start to work on your next move. So there's so much information that you can collect on a project, and putting it all into terms of worked or didn't work is underwhelming, to say the least. I mean, here's a perfect example, okay? Richard and I, we do these breast cancer events at the mall to raise money for breast cancer at the local mall here in Salt Lake, basically. But we have 20 to 30 vendors in the center courtyard of the mall on a Saturday afternoon. And the vendors is really the fundraising part of it. They make a donation to the breast cancer, to our breast cancer fundraising in order to have a table there at the mall. And so some vendors understand the big picture more than others. And then again, it depends on what their products are, what they're selling too, what kind of business they have, right? But some vendors think that if they don't sell enough to get the money back they paid for the table and then make money on top of that, it was a failure. And I understand that. Obviously, we don't want to lose money when we do events, right? And, maybe if you're just making crafts and selling them, or if you're selling some sort of a retail product, making money at each event is the most important goal for your business at those events. And I understand that, right? That could be totally true for your business. That's where you have to analyze it. So, but in my experience, the greatest business building comes from me meeting people at every event and collecting contact information for those who are interested in receiving my brochures, my Avon brochures. And so basically it's those who raise their hands, right? I'm not looking to sell anybody. I'm not looking to be pushy. I'm not, but it's just getting those people that are interested, who say they're interested, and then following up with them. So as they come by my table and they're looking at our products, we try to start a conversation. We tell them, hey, we mail our Avon brochures. Would you like to get on our mailing list? And sometimes they're really excited about that. And they're like, yes, sign me up. And other times, not so much, right? But if not, no problem. I mean, I let them look and move on if that's what they want. I might have a conversation with them if they're open to it. But I'm not looking to be pushy. there's plenty of people who want what I have to offer. And so I'll take the easy ones, the ones that raise their hand, right? So, but also just consistently being there every month also makes a huge difference. Sometimes people need to see you several times before they're willing to buy from you. And so I might lose money one month, but then make money the next. And along the way, I pick up customers that I mail my brochures to, who then call me with orders outside of the fundraiser event. And over time, my rewards are well worth the amount of effort I put into it. So, by the way, when I get a new customer or a new contact for everyone, no matter who it is, if I get a new name or a new customer, I make notes in my contact manager about where I met them so I can track my results over time. You'd be surprised. Seriously. I mean, you'd be surprised what might come out of a contact that you made somewhere. And years down the road, all of a sudden something comes out of it, right? You just don't know. So I had a lady that I met at a Lemon Festival and event that we did in the parking lot in the mall in Ventura when I lived in Ventura, California. She never ordered or became a customer, but she wanted to get on my brochure list. And I think it was more than a year later that turned into a huge blessing for us. See, I've been mailing my brochures to her, and every brochure that I put out has a flyer in it, either about recruiting or fundraising or whatever. I always put a flyer in my brochures. And so over time, she just happened to be the top administrator for the California Youth Authority in that area, and as a youth prison. And because of that relationship I built with her over time, and just by following up and just by her receiving those brochures, that turned into Richard and I creating an ongoing fundraiser for the girls in the facility that amounted to roughly $3,000 a month for over like 3 years. I mean, until, well, I think it was about 3, maybe 4 years. $3,000 a month, every month. It was so amazing. And it turned out to be a great thing for them. They actually had a girl that was in the facility. They assigned girls. I wasn't the same one all the time, but like one girl would be in charge. She would be an inmate, but she would be someone who's maybe close to getting out, and she's getting work experience by running this fundraiser, right? And the girls got to buy from them. And I mean, this was like a tricky thing. I mean, because there's certain products that are allowed in that facility and certain products that are not. So they couldn't just give out the brochures to the girls. They had to tear out pages of the products that they were allowed to buy. And they only offered those. But anyway, I'm kind of getting off track here. But so it's important to track your results over time. Be careful how you track them, and don't be so quick to say something didn't work because it didn't work at exactly that time, right? And then something that didn't work might be worth it if you can put in more effort into it. And something that did work might not be worth the return. So that's why it's so important to analyze it over time. Keep records of what's happening. Keep records of what's, like for instance, for me, some of these customers that I got on my mailing list and they place an order with me, weeks later, they still came from that they still came from that event, that table that we had that day, even if it was weeks later. So, you want to kind of tie that together because you want to be able to see that, yes, I am getting results, even if I didn't sell enough that day to make a profit, right? So successful people keep really good track of these kinds of statistics over the long term, and they evaluate them over time. And so in order that this helps them to make the right moves and become even more successful. So, hey, now I'd love to hear from you. Do you track and analyze your results? What do you do? What do you find that helps you do that? What kinds of things help you to know if you're being successful or not being successful? Please share with us. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Please get in the comments below. Anyway, thanks for being here with me today. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.